that is basically my advice to my 20-year-old self. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danica and I'm the Fit Mom Lifestyle on Instagram and Like to Know It. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. So, if you're seeing this video, that means I am now 30 years old. So basically, I'm going to be talking about the things that I've learned in the last 10 years and like what I would tell my 20-year-old self. I have a sister who is 18, and so I kind of thought about like, gosh, what are the things that I wish I knew when I was her age? And like looking back, you know, now 10 years older, like what would I tell myself, you know? And I thought this video would be fun. It'll be fun to look back on, I'm sure, later, but I just kind of was like thinking about it the other night and I was like, wow, a couple of my friends are getting together and they were friends that I celebrated my 20th birthday with, and I'm like, we are such different people than we were then. And so I kind of got the inspiration for this video. So anyway, if you want to see what I would tell my 20-year-old self, then keep watching. Okay, so can't go down memory lane without a little rosé. So got my glass here. Cheers. Happy birthday to me. Yay. I think, so my birthday is January 11th. I think this video is going live January 12th. So I'm officially 30. I was born at lunchtime, so I always like tease my mom that she couldn't have lunch. Well, she could have, but anyway. So I broke this into 3 categories, and I'm going to talk about friends, school, and boys. Because when you're 20 years old, I feel like those are kind of like 3 very, like, I don't know, important things in your life. Like those were the things that I was like focusing on. That was my world, basically. That sounds so weird to say, but you know what I mean? Like that's all you have to worry about. That's what you do worry about. So, like I said, I want to kind of like envision this as like something I would tell my younger sister or my friends or someone who is kind of like in their early 20s, you know, as someone who's now closed that chapter, just reflecting back on that. 20s, I learned so much about myself. I mean, I feel like my teens were just wild in that you're all over the place. Like you just don't know, you know, you don't know what direction to go in because you're a teenager. Like you're just, you know, you're kind of like lost, but everybody is, like you're just fumbling around, right? My 20s, I feel like I tried a lot of things and decided like, that's not for me, like no thank you, I love this, you know what I mean? Like I kind of figured out who I was, or am. And so it's kind of exciting going into my 30s. There are certain things like I just don't care anymore because I know who I am and I like am happy with that, and I really just don't care what other people think, you know what I mean? And I feel like I'm so grateful for my 20s for learning those things and kind of like gaining that self-confidence and just being like, this is me, so take it or leave it. Like, you know, I'm happy with myself at the end of the day, and that's kind of all that matters, you know? Anyway, so let's talk about the first topic, which is school. Now, I know not everybody decides to go to school, and, you know, I don't mean this to like alienate anybody or anything like that, but just take it, whether it's school or your first job, you know, whatever the equivalent is for you. So I wrote down a couple things, and I do want to kind of quickly paint the picture for you. I have my phone here, so I'm going to look at that, but I'm going to insert some photos. I don't know what side, maybe I'll scoot over here. I always do that. So I'll scoot over here and I'll put some photos. So let me quickly paint a picture. I am from California and I went to college on the East Coast. So it was a totally new, like, culture shock for me, essentially. Everything was new. And I went to the East Coast because I was am a runner, and I ran Division I cross country on the East Coast. I would not have been able to do that here in California. So anyway, I went to the East Coast to run cross country and to go to a great Jesuit school. My family's Catholic. I really love the Jesuit schools. I love the Jesuit education. If you want to know more about that, comment down below. I'd love to like chat with you, but I think the Jesuit schools are the best. I went to Fairfield University in Connecticut and I love it. Highly recommend. It was the best. I went to USC for grad school, and as much as I loved USC and the football games were so fun, and you know, I'm so glad that I did that, Fairfield has my heart. Like, USC was a degree, but Fairfield, I just love that school. So anyway, I could talk about that, but that's a whole other topic. So when it comes to school, I was a sophomore in college when I was 20. That was a rough year because I was like sick, and it was a hard year. Sophomore year was kind of a weird year. Because you're no longer a freshman, but you're still very young. You're still at the bottom of the barrel, I guess, as they say. So anyway, it was, gosh, what year was it? 2011. Yeah, so I turned 20 in 2011, and I'll put some pictures here. So these are some of my best girlfriends from college, my best friends from college, and we were all on the cross country team together, and 3 of us have birthdays within 2 weeks of each other. So essentially we decided to have a birthday party together. And when you're a sophomore, you live in the dorms. So we happen to have friends who were juniors who had a house, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll host it for you. So we're like, sweet, like sophomores never get to have parties. Like, this is so cool. Like house parties, right? So we got to use their house, and we like set it all up. And of course it's like pink and glitter, and these were boys. So like their house had no, it was just really funny. So anyway, these are pictures from our 20th birthday. We had such a good time. I think that was the best birthday that I had in college because it was just so fun. So sophomore in college, I went across the country. I had such a culture shock. I was a Division I cross country athlete, so that was huge. I was an editor at the school paper. I lived in what's like called a residential college, so we had to like go on retreats once a semester, and then we had like meetings once a week to talk about like gosh, what was like the I want to say initiatives, but that's not, I forget what the word was that they used to describe it. Like, we had to talk about objectives. We had different objectives every week, and like goals and stuff that we had to talk about. So we met once a week with like a mentor, and like there was a group of us, and it was such a good learning experience. That year was such a good year. I feel like I really found myself that year. We'll get into that. So anyway, so that was kind of what was going on. I was also striving to make Dean's List all through college. So like I had a lot going on. I was very, very busy, and we had the best year. So that kind of like sets the scene of where I was at 20 years old. And my birthday's in January, so we had just finished first semester of sophomore year, and we were about to start second semester. So when it comes to school, gosh, don't stress. Don't stress. I wish that oh my God, I wish I could take myself and just be like, stop, relax. I probably 10 years from now will say the same thing about myself now. But like, I was so high strung and so stressed and just wanting to get the best grades and just working so hard that I wish I had just slowed down every once in a while and just like took it all in. You know what I mean? Like, just enjoy it. Enjoy it, because once you get older and you have all these responsibilities after college, it's just not as fun. So I wish I could go back and just soak it in, So I would just say, like, like, not to say don't work so hard, but just slow down. I think that's the best way to say it. Slow down, enjoy it. Enjoy college, because as hard as it may be, if you're involved in all these things and whatever, you're choosing it. Like you're choosing to do the things that you're doing, so enjoy that. So anyway, that's the first thing that I would say. And then the next thing that I would say is get involved in all of those activities. Try things out. The only way you're gonna know what you like and what you dislike is by trying it. So, join the clubs, join, whatever. Like I said, I was on the school paper, I was an athlete, like I was doing a lot of different things. My friends joked all the time, like whenever I was not with them, they're like, oh, she's probably in a meeting. She's probably in a meeting. Or I would tell them, like, I have a meeting. Like, I was just always doing things. And that was so good. Like, first of all, I kept myself really busy, and I think part of why I did that was because I was a little bit homesick, to be totally honest, reflecting on it now. Like, the busier I was, the less like sad I could be, which that kind of sounds bad, but like I just kept myself busy. Like, I knew I was there for a reason, and I was just like really soaking it all in. So I would highly encourage you to get involved in whatever you can. Even my husband, like his freshman year was really, really hard because he wasn't involved in anything, and then he finally got into a fraternity sophomore year and like, of course, lived it up. So this is not about him, but my point is like, find your people, get involved. And the only way you're gonna do that is by getting involved. So try things, figure out what you like and what you don't like. So those are 2 tips when it comes to school. And then my last tip for school is relating to like the actual education aspect. I feel like so often everyone's like, well, what's your major? Well, what are you majoring? Well, what's your plan? Well, do you have a job lined up? You know, so-and-so has a job lined up, or so-and-so interned in the summer so that they would have a job lined up. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. You are smart. You will figure it out. You will end up where you are meant to be. Okay? Like, oh my gosh, again, these are things that I, 1, would totally tell my sister, I hope she watches this, and 2, just wish I could go back to myself and be like, it's gonna be okay. I promise it's gonna be okay. Because it's so stressful and there's so much unnecessary pressure to figure out your life at 20, 21, 22 years old. And most of the people I know don't even do whatever it is that they majored in, you know? Or they went on to get an additional degree in something else, and that's what they ended up pursuing. So just don't stress. I work with a lot of college students, interns and stuff at work, and I try to tell them these things all the time. Like, it'll work itself out. Do your best, get good grades, soak it all in, learn everything you can, and it will work itself out. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is one I have to be a little careful with. Like, I get a little nervous talking about it. But it's boys or relationships, whatever, you know, your preferences, whatever. Sophomore year, well, it was a fun year, but it was a rough year. So I was in a relationship. Well, first of all, Josh and I dated end of college, or end of high school. Broke up to go away to college, and when we broke up, I'm not kidding you, I felt like my heart was being ripped out of my chest. I was so sad to break up with Josh, and I'm pretty sure he felt the same. It was so hard. It was the hardest breakup I had ever been through, but my mom told me, and this I guess kind of goes hand in hand with it, but my mom told me, if you're meant to be together, you will be. And look, here we are now, married with a crazy 2-year-old. So that was the hardest breakup of my life, hands down. I cried literally for weeks. Like, and he went to school first because his school started like a week before mine. They had like a, what is it called? Like an orientation week before mine. And so he was gone and I was home, and I was going to all of our spots because, like, you know, we went to all the spots like in our neighborhood, and I would just cry. Like, and then everyone would be like, oh, is Josh at school? And I would just cry. Like, it was so sad. I was so sad. I missed him so much. And we decided to just be friends, but we just didn't want to do long distance, and we thought it would be best for both of us to like grow and learn on our own and develop our own things without each other, you know, holding each other back. And not that we would have, and I'm not saying that if you choose to be in a relationship that that's what you're doing, but this was just what worked for us. So anyway, broke up with him, and then pretty soon, like into freshman year, I met somebody else. He was older, and we started dating, and that was just not good. And my friends told me from day one, like, it was a very unhealthy relationship. And oh my goodness, that was just tough. The relationships, especially like in college from my experience, are tough because you're living in the, well, if you live on campus, but you're living like in the same place with this person, and you eat in the cafeteria, and it's like, I mean, we went to a relatively small school, so like you couldn't really escape them. Like, you see each other all the time. And so, oh gosh, that was tough. But I know a lot of people find their soulmates in college, so maybe it was just I had bad luck, I don't know. But it led me back to Josh. So anyway, I guess what I'm getting at with boys is, 1, trust your friends. My friends saw right through that. I also knew that it was not a good idea. Trust your gut. you know, don't just do something because it's cool to have a boyfriend. Like I said, he was older. We got into parties, like all my friends and I did. We really benefited from that relationship in that way. But like, it was just not a good idea, you know? But at the same time, looking back on it, I am so grateful for the experience that I overcame, because I would not be the person that I am today were it not for him, for dating him. So I'm really grateful for the lessons that it taught me. It was hard, and like all my friends who went through it with me, like who experienced it alongside me, know how difficult it was for me, but it made me the person who I am. And I really have to say, I think it kind of made me unapologetic in a way, because I was so wrapped up in it. And I was so, not the word submissive is not right, but like in a way, does that make any sense? Like he was older and he knew more, and you know, I just thought I was the little freshman that knew nothing, and I thought that he was right. And you know, I don't know. But because of that, I was like, what am I doing? It was like I woke up from a bad dream, and I like found myself. I don't know how else to explain it other than the fact that I just realized, like, what am I doing? Like, why have you fallen into this like trap, kind of, not trap, but it's really hard to talk about, and I never want to like offend anybody, because like I said, I learned so much and grew so much and found out who my real friends were, and just so many good things came of that. But like I said, when it comes to relationships, trust your gut, trust your friends, and if something goes wrong or not the way you planned, try and learn from it like I did. Like I said, I have absolutely no hard feelings towards him anymore. I'm grateful that I am who I am because of that horrible relationship. So moving on. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to being 20 years old is making the best friends. So I showed you a few of my friends that were on the team with me, but I made so many good friends in college, and so many that I keep in touch with. And actually also one of my best friends from elementary school, we became friends. She was 4 and I was 5, and we're still friends 25 years later. Oh my God, that's crazy to say. And we stayed friends during college, and every time we'd come home, we'd get coffee, we'd hang out, like we would just go back to the way we were. And again, like the way that, you know, because we were so far apart, we realized how much we like loved each other, and you know, we were just best friends, and we're so happy to see each other again. And on a similar note, same thing goes with Josh. Like we broke up throughout the 4 years that we were both in college, but every break we would come home and we hung out, and it was just like we were all friends again. Like that's how I knew, like obviously he's my husband, but he's my friend first. Like we were friends before anything else. And like even throughout college, when even we both like dated other people, we talked all the time because we were just friends. Like we just knew each other so well. And like I think that's kind of also for me personally how I decided, like, this is my husband, like this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with, because he was my, like, literally, I feel like it's so overused, but like he was like one of my best friends, and I couldn't imagine my life without him, you know? So anyway, that's kind of like friends from home. And like family, gosh, I learned to appreciate them so much being far away. That was just, you know, they were such a support system. But I'm gonna stick to friends. Family, I could go on a whole other tangent, but you know, I want to talk about like how our friends affect us. So in addition, like in college, my college friends, actually the group of girls I was just telling you about that were on my team, are getting together this weekend for a birthday party. And unfortunately they all live like further on the East Coast, so it's much easier for them to get together. And then with everything going on in the world, I'm so far on the other side of the country that it's hard for me to get over there. But we're all still friends 10 years later, really good friends. We have a group chat, we talk all the time. I have to silence that group chat because I will be at work and I'll pick up my phone and I'll have like 123 missed text messages, and I'm like, you guys, come on, because I'm 3 hours behind. So they're like all at home doing whatever they're doing and I'm still at work. And I'm like, guys, I'm still at work. I can't answer you. So anyway, and then also like just some other friends too. Like I just made so many friends in college and I'm so, so grateful. So again, like I feel like you really develop deep relationships in like because you're all going through it together. Like whether it's your school that's difficult, or living away from home for the first time for most of us, which is difficult, or going through difficult relationships, you have those people by your side. And I'm just so grateful for my friends. So those are kind of the 3 things that were like super, like that was my life, you know, school, friends, and relationships. And those were like the 3 things that were very, very important at 20 years old. And those are kind of like my things that I was reflecting on. You know, just work hard in school, but don't put pressure on yourself. Date, have fun, but learn from it. And stay true to your friends and develop those deep relationships, because you'll have a lasting friendship forever. So in a brief summary, that is basically my advice to my 20-year-old self. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was different than anything I've ever done, but turning 30 is a big, you know, I don't know, milestone. And I just kind of wanted to, like I said, I was reflecting on this the other night and I thought this would be helpful, one, to share with, I'm sure someone will benefit from this. So if you did, give it a thumbs up. I hope this helped somebody in some way. I hope if you're going through a difficult time right now, or you know, you're trying to make a decision whether or not to go away to college, I highly recommend. I'm happy. College was the best experience. I had such a good time, and I'm happy to talk to anyone who has any questions or needs some encouragement or anything like that. You can always comment below or message me on Instagram. I'll put my handle here. And yeah, I just, like I said, have a great time in your 20s. Learn as much as you can, because then you'll hit 30 like me and you'll be ready. Like I'm excited. I'm ready to start a new decade, a new chapter, and I feel like I now have the right direction. You know what I mean? When I was like in my teens, I was like all over the place. When I was in my 20s, I was kind of figuring it out, and now I'm like, okay, I got my path, I got my people, I'm good to go. So we're gonna keep moving forward, and this is gonna be the best decade yet. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.